Hello and welcome back to the Sideboard. I am Ruben Bressler. I am here with Phimus Pan. Phimus, thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
Now, you qualified for the Invitational by top 8ing the Legacy Open in Las Vegas.
Correct.
With goblins.
Yeah.
You are not playing goblins today. You are bringing something quite different to the table. Tell everybody at home what you're running today.
This is the list that Oli Ratty played at one of the GPs in Europe at a big side event. It was like 230 people, and I think he finished second. I saw the list, and I thought it was pretty cool. I'd give it a try.
And so what we're talking about is blue-green infect. Now, there's a couple pieces. It's sort of a little puzzle you have to put together. You need to get part 1, part 2, and part 3. Part 1 is you need a creature, an infect creature preferably, although you do have 3 noble hierarchs, which add another damage to your infect guys, but you've got 4 Inkmoth Nexus, 4 Blighted Agent, 4 Glistener Elf, and 3 Ichor Mirror. Not exactly cards people would think of in Legacy, but
no, really.
But it seems to be working. What makes you pick these specific creatures?
They're the best at their cost. One's unblockable, and the 1-drop is obviously good. And then you need more creatures, so you can call Mirror as the last one.
Right, and of course Inkmoth Nexus is all basically unblockable in Legacy. The only things with flying are like Vendilion Click and Scrib Ranger.
Right.
Or maybe a couple
other things. A Flip
Delver
is never untapped.
A Flip Delver, right? Yeah, exactly. So now step 2 is find a way to make your infect creature big. Now every pump spell basically is double when it goes on an infect creature.
Right.
And you've got, of course, the 4 Invigorates and the 4 Berserks, which are, I think, the biggest parts. But am I wrong in that? Or
no, those are the biggest parts. Most of the pump spells are +4/+4, and so it automatically combos with a 1-power infect guy and the Berserk to naturally do 10.
Right. And you've got Might of Old Krosa, Singleton Groundswell. You also have a Rancor,
yeah,
which I imagine works very well when you're facing down ground stalls.
Yeah, you never want to draw a second Rancor.
Right.
The Groundswell actually was a card availability issue.
Oh,
it was supposed to be a 4 Vines of the Vastwood, just couldn't find one.
Right, and so we move on to Vines of the Vastwood, which sort of combos as a pump spell and a counter spell as a way to protect your guy. Part 3 is sort of protect your animal.
Yeah.
And you've got 4 Vines, 4 Days as your sort of protection package.
Yep.
And so you're also running Brainstorm, because it's Legacy.
Yeah.
But you're running Gitaxian Probe. Talk to the folks at home about Gitaxian Probe real quick.
You basically, this plays as a combo deck, and so I just want to look at their hand, see if Coast is clear to go all in on the pump spells.
Right, and I missed one pump spell, and that would be Pendelhaven,
yeah.
Which I was watching your last match, and that seems to be doing a little bit of work. I like that one a lot.
It's pretty good. All the guys are 1/1, and it's basically a free roll.
Right. Let's move briefly over to your sideboard here, if you would tell me a little bit about some of the cards I see here. I think everybody can understand what Fairy Macabre is for. What's Nature's Claim specifically for?
I think there are some enchantments out of Enlightened Package sideboards of the Counterbalance deck, and so, like Mode or Humility that I might want to kill. Also, the 4 life is irrelevant in this matchup
Sure.
when I'm playing, and so it's just sort of catch-all.
Right, and it can also sort of take out troublesome artifacts, like, I don't know if Ensnaring Bridge is ever a problem for you.
I haven't seen one of those, but that could, yes,
right.
that would be a problem.
I've seen a couple around the room, but they're not very common. Now you've also got Gut Shot. What's that for specifically?
I took the whole sideboard off the list.
Okay.
And I actually haven't boarded the Gut Shots at all, but I think they're supposed to be for Thalias.
Oh, okay.
And then a lot of the Goblin decks have Mog Fanatics, so I think you need to kill one before going off, or like they're also good against their lackeys.
Nice, and you've also got this Singleton Viridian Corruptor, which I like a lot.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. Has this guy come in at all?
He has not come in yet.
Oh, that's too bad.
Basically, I've only boarded in the Spell Pierce so far.
Oh, okay. And the Spell Pierce is because there's a lot of counterbalance around the room today.
Yeah.
I imagine that's mostly for that matchup.
Yes.
Now you had some. This deck obviously can produce some pretty insane blowout stories. You had some pretty good ones from yesterday. One of them involved a Submerge of some kind. Tell me about that story.
Okay, so my opponent had a Spurge that I saw through a Probe the previous turn, and he had access to 4 mana. And on my turn, I had a Blighted Agent with 3 mana sources, and so I used my Trop to Might of Old Krosa it, and then I kept priority and dazed it, and then by returning my Trop, and then
no longer had the island or no longer had the forest for him to be able to submerge.
Yeah, my other 2 sources were Hierarch and Nexus, and so I paid for it with the Nexus, and then I killed him with a Berserk off the last mana.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Now you had another good one where you your opponent. There's a lot of counterbalance top in the room, as we've mentioned. Your opponent had counterbalance top.
Yeah, and so he was on the play, and he had top counterbalance the first 2 turns, and I'd seen the rest of his hand was lands from my first turn probe, and then on my second turn I had an elf in play, and I played a land, Might of Ode Krosa, and he responds by topping, and then in response to the top, I cast Invigorate and Berserk and kill him.
Nice. That's pretty great.
Yeah, it's one of the better stories.
Well, this deck looks like a ton of fun to play. Your rounds don't go very long, I imagine.
No, they don't.
And so, Phimus, good luck the rest of the tournament.
Thanks
for being in the sideboard with me.